Real talk with verified wellness providers. The Wellness Connection.
Welcome to the Wellness Connection, Meet Arkansas's Providers. We are so glad you have joined us. If you are tired of searching for confusing wellness advice, this is the place to be. We are bringing you beyond the clinic walls for a casual coffee chat with local experts who make up the Arkansas Wellness Network. So we are going to be sharing authentic stories, personal passions, and the practical wisdom you need for a healthier life, all focused right here in Arkansas. I am LaTanya. I am a certified life and business coach. I specialize in teenage mothers and helping heal mother wounds. Joining me today, we have Miss Tanya. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Tanya Phillips, and I'm a health educator and coach.
And Dr. Yu.
Hi, everybody. My name is Pele Yu. I am a pediatrician.
Perfect. Thank you. So we are actually going to kick things off by turning the spotlight inward today. We want to show you, our listeners and the viewers, that we are not just hosts, we are also authentic wellness practitioners as well. And we are actively practicing what we preach. So today I am going to let Tanya introduce our first practitioner that we are going to interview today.
Hey guys, I wanted to introduce Pele or Dr. Yu, because he's very special to me. I asked him to be a part of this because he is not just a doctor, not just a pediatrician, but he is so well-rounded in both Eastern and Western medicine. And I absolutely adore him. I work with him with the UAMS Mindfulness Meditation program. And I am very excited to have Dr. Yu joining us, not just as a professional in the field, but also as one of our hosts, our regular hosts. So thank you so much, Dr. Yu, for coming with us today.
Yes, so thank you. I enjoyed this and I enjoyed meeting you, Tanya. It was a really cool thing that how we met. So I can't wait to get started and hopefully share what I've been working on in my life.
Wonderful.
I'm so excited. Okay, so Dr. Yu, welcome to the guest chair. Tell us a little bit about your specialty.
Okay, so I am a pediatrician, so I see young kids and young adults, and I've been a pediatrician since '96. It's been a long, long time, and I practiced community pediatrics in South Carolina earlier in my. I practiced urgent care. I worked in the emergency medicine, and I worked in the hospital. Hospitalist in my life as well. And now, I am doing integrative medicine, and one of the pivoting, in my life is trying to figure out how do I really sort of like practice medicine where not only I'm bringing my head, like when in the integrative medicine, you tend to be more a focus on the connection, with the patient. And not to say that, in the standard medicine, you're not looking for connection, but just the way the business of medicine is working with patients and families, the goal for connecting sometimes gets diminished because of the demands just of time, resources, the way standard medicine is delivered. Those have its own benefits and role in taking care of patients, but the ability to connect at the human level first, I think what got me to like, man, I think this is what medicine is about. And I am looking for that. So this is me evolving into that type of caring, because I think that when one does that, and it's been studied already that, healthcare workers are fatigued of when they take care of their patients. And I think it's one way to bring back that connection so that then it will decrease so like fatigue in terms of the compassion that we do on a day-to-day basis. And I think it's good for me, to have that connection with patients. That's the type of practice that I do. And it's just so happened that, it's in the Children's Hospital, Arkansas Children's Hospital. But I see my growth as a human being in becoming a physician, that is that focusing on that connection. It's an evolution for me as a physician. Let's put it that way. From standard medicine to just beginning to think about those things and realizing it for myself. It took me 60 years to realize that. So yeah, I just turned 60. That's why. So
Happy birthday.
Happy
yeah,
birthday.
yeah. So anyway, yeah.
That's wonderful. So now you have many other talents, not just being a doctor. You're a mindfulness meditation facilitator. I believe you have. So when I first met Dr. Yu, he was in front of like a PowerPoint presentation, and it was hilarious. He said, I have more letters behind my name to make up for the short last name that I have. And he did. He had like a whole sentence of credentials. So tell us about some of the other stuff you do.
Okay. All right. So when I first completed my residency training in pediatrics, I completed that in 96. Okay. So I became a pediatrician, in 96, and I practiced community pediatrics in South Carolina. So in that community pediatrics, I was one of 2 pediatricians in the county, right?
Wow.
So then I see patients in the clinic. I see patients in the hospital. I go up to see patients in the nursery. I have a small inpatient practice. I found out that a lot of the stuff that my patients need requires connection with the resources around the community.
Mm.
So, and I don't know how to do that. It's like I can't connect, the hospital, the other doctor's offices, the academic center, the specialists. And I started figuring like how to do that. And the internet was just moving up, evolving. And I said, I think with electronic medical records, I can connect all of those resources so that me as a physician can have a better view of the patient's healthcare, and I can help them and treat them better. That's the start of me looking into clinical informatics or medical informatics. It's the computers in medicine. So then I went back to school. Did some training. It's called a fellowship training, self-specialty training. And I've been doing medical informatics since 2005. And so I did that in Birmingham, Alabama. And part of that, I did urgent care clinic as I studied and all that kind of stuff. And since then, I have been a hospital administrator, installing, managing, optimizing electronic medical records and health information technology in hospitals. So I have been involved in launching electronic medical records in 3 children's hospitals in the nation. So one in Children's in Alabama. So I stayed 10 years in Alabama. St. Louis Children's Hospital. So I stayed about 5-6 years in St. Louis Children's Hospital. And here in Arkansas Children's Hospital, I help install their electronic medical record. That's what came over here. So that's that, right? However, as I was going through my life as a physician in a variety of settings, right? So in the ER, in the hospital, all that, something that I could not find in the clinical practice that I do, in the systems administration that I do, is I like figuring out like how do you actually continue to connect, and I don't. So then I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to incorporate that in my day-to-day life as a physician. And anyway, so I got introduced to yoga in 2004. And that led me to like this meditation thingy. I found like why do I feel good, when I'm doing yoga? And as a physician and academic, like professor and all that stuff, I started studying it.
Typical Dr. Yu. You went down that road.
Was looking at it, and then it got me into like several different things. So then then I started the mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the breath, and mindfulness and all that stuff. So I've been doing that since 2005, and whenever I see patients, I would kind of just teach them, like, oh, well, maybe just, when you're stressed, especially when I did I did ER medicine, emergency medicine in St. Louis. And, when you're in the ER, you're very stressed. And I would like, hey, let's breathe together before we do, and I said, how can I incorporate this? Because it's not much time. Like in the ER, like I spend what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, for patients, and then you come back. And so I wanted to figure it out. And so I learned how to teach meditation, and that's how I met Tanya. So I did my certification in, teaching meditation, and I've been teaching meditation since then. And then when I came over here, I launched with a friend the UAMS mindfulness program. The idea was to cultivate and develop people like me who are in the academic medical center setting who would like to teach meditation, and so we did that in 2019, I think. So that we launched that. So we've been about 6 years or so formally as a group. Before that, we were kind of rogue agents teaching mindfulness in the in the hospital. Like I would set up like noontime drop-ins in the hospital, and whenever we have like leadership programs, I would volunteer to teach meditation in the hospital. And but with this UMS, now it's kind of like a formal group. We were launched through a grant, and we've been sustaining ourselves, and that's how I met Tanya, and you're wanting to contribute to that program. So anyway, so that led me here, and then I started teaching meditation after hours, like I would teach it nights and weekends. And I said, hang on a minute, like how can I actually like incorporate this in my day job instead of outside of my job, because I have other interests, like the guitar. I want to play guitar in the evenings and on weekends. So,
And everybody.
yeah. So, and this integrative medicine is actually that. How can you incorporate mind, body, spirit type of interventions, interactions, skills development, those kinds of things as part of this holistic approach for health, So I wanted to do that, right? So that's what I'm trying to figure out. So I have a clinic at Children's Hospital. It's an integrative health clinic where I, cultivate mind, body, spirit practices, and trying to figure out how to teach patients, young adults, kids, and most importantly, their caregivers, right? And like just improving wellness. So I have 3 goals in my clinic. Live well, love more, and eat better. So those are like the 3 programs that I'm working on. And so I have a partnership with local community libraries here in Central Arkansas, and we do cook-alongs,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, well, yeah. So check that out.
I
We have
love
one.
it.
Yes, we have one in Thompson Library in Rawling, here in West Little Rock. This is where I live. Either next week or the week after that. So if you like Google my clinic, pediatric integrative health or integrative medicine, Arkansas Children's, you land to a little poster there. And every month I'm partnering with a really cool local chef. Her name is Chef Alicia. She's a vegan chef, really, really cool person. And the goal is really to teach families how to cook healthy and to demystify that healthy food is expensive food and it's hard to cook food,
That's so important.
Everything's for free, right? So you sign up to the website, whatever, and then you go there and you learn. You see us cooking. Chef Alicia cooks, but me, I watch. And then after it's cooked, I eat them. But the participants get to eat what they've seen and help cook, right? They will be help chopping the vegetables. And then after the cook along, they go home with a grocery. So we have a grocery bag of the recipe, and they go home with it so that they can do it at home. So
Oh, that's wonderful.
well,
I love that.
yeah.
And I like what you said because that is something I fight all the time is demystifying that eating healthy is more expensive because it isn't always. It's just
It's just the
making
choices.
the right
Yeah.
choices.
It's the choices and the way you do it. In my clinic, there's also like one of the goals, like how do you eat better? Now, we're not talking about like, hey, why don't you lose weight? Or why don't you be on this Atkins diet or whatever. And those are also interventions, right? That we see a lot. But here, how do you really figure out, how to eat nutritious stuff so that then what you're putting in your mouth actually helps heal the body from the inside? And what are the evidence today that when you make those choices, they are much better food for the body than the standard stuff. So for instance, things that grow in the ground that are colorful and that are not sprayed with chemicals are better than those that are not born in the ground and those that have been sprayed with chemicals. Because when you eat pesticides, it's not good for your body.
Right. If it's not good for the bugs, it's not good for you either.
Good for the bugs. So I always share to my patients, say, hey, just in general, like you try to eat the colors of the rainbow, and then the colors are actually the real colors that these plants are. We're not saying you don't eat meat, We're just saying that, hey, maybe increase some of that, in your life. And it's actually for myself as well, it's a ongoing opportunity to make choices every time there's a decision to eat. And I think the more knowledgeable you are about those things, then you make healthy choices in small increments. And that's the whole idea. Anyway, so that's part of the cooking stuff that we do in the clinic.
I love that. It sounds like one of the quotes I remember hearing: eat from a plant, not food that's made in a plant.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's one of the goals. So I'm very excited with that, really, because we move around the library system. So we already had a couple of that, and then this would be our third one. And then January we have 2 of those in the new library at the library in Little Rock was renovated, and
It's
they have a really—
beautiful. I was there yesterday.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
They apparently have a really cool kitchen. So
Oh,
yeah, teaching kitchen. So we'll be there to two events in January. So
that's great. I did not know that. That's really exciting. I actually used to teach a course very similar to what you're talking about for the library system, and it was the same kind of concept. It was about eating healthy on a budget.
yeah,
Library really pushes that health and
yes,
wellness aspect.
absolutely. They have a Be Mighty program, which that program was a partner of my food is medicine program. And the Be Mighty program has that. We've leveraged their expertise and their partnership with food banks. And of course, Central Arkansas Library has a kitchen, community resources that are untapped, I think, right? For these kinds of things. And it's highly available because, every area has a community library, or not all have kitchens, by the way. So that's a problem. But hey, in areas where you do that. So there are emerging partnerships that I'm working with, so that then it becomes statewide. So recently I had discussion with the Department of Health, and yeah, so cool things.
That's
Uh,
wonderful. I love it. Maybe you can write some articles for us for the magazine on
That would be
food is
great.
medicine.
Actually, yeah, exactly. I think that would be great because, I've got some, we've got some photos of the events that we're
Yeah.
doing, and then we're shooting some videos for the recipes. I think this month, so we're going to try to figure those things out. But the recipes are really recipes that can be, I would say, medicine. Like these are healthy stuff that when you eat it, it's very, very nutritious to your body. I always
I
tell my patients, like, these plants, man, these plants, they grow from the ground, right? And just imagine the sun, blasting this energy, right? So that then they will grow inside the plant. They protect themselves from the sun so that then they can grow. These are called phytochemicals, right? So they're working inside the plants, as we breathe out oxygen. Just imagine when you breathe right now, some of those carbon particles, the plants in your area will suck it up, and then it helps them grow their leaves, right? And so literally we're like hanging out with them all the time, right? And then the sun shines on them so that then they grow, right? But when we eat those plants, right, everything gets recycled, but we gain the benefit of those phytochemicals in nourishing our bodies so that then we can fight, infection, improve our immunity, help with our gut microbiome, like the fibers and the nutrients, and it's just super awesome. And then we give them back. We say, hey, everything's eliminated. We just get recycled, and it's just like a nice party with, with the plants. Yeah. Like here, it's just my tea right here. So I put matcha in here. So we like matcha. This matcha is daughter and my favorite, and my daughter's as well. My daughter as well. It's a grown daughter, 27-year-old. But the matcha, or the tea, the green tea. So you crush them, right? Like whatever. So when you put that in your tea, the caffeine, the green tea has a little caffeine, not as much as coffee, but the caffeine breaks down first. So you consume the caffeine in the morning, so you get like a little, energy.
You get a what? I said, you get a what?
You get a little lift, but not like coffee, because tea has a little bit of caffeine. The green tea has a little bit of caffeine. Like some other tea has more caffeine than green tea. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I don't throw after the first sip. I don't throw the tea bag. I use the tea bag the whole day.
Oh, wow.
Because as you put more water in it, after you consume it, now you consume the caffeine. Then after that, the plant, they break down the phytochemicals throughout the day. So not only you're not wasting it, it starts surrendering to the water, and then you're drinking all the phytochemicals. So you're just...
Look at us. LaTanya has the same look on her face.
Mine is blown.
Mine too. I've always put home your tea bag in.
Yeah, don't throw the tea bag, because like, hey, they lived for a reason, and then you want to just enjoy them until it's clear water.
Wow. Gonna have to try that today.
I absolutely am.
Yeah. Well, for me, it makes sense. Like, okay, hey, there's a gift, and hey, let's enjoy the gift as much as we can. Yeah.
Great. Okay, Dr. Yu, I have a question for you. What suggestion would you give so you're a pediatrician, so say you have a patient who's 15, right? And they are really interested in promoting and helping encourage their family to live a healthier lifestyle, so better food choices, but their family is not as receptive to listening. What advice would you give to that patient to help open the dialogue between them and their family?
Very, very hard, right? Very, very tough. Just imagine a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old, right? If the patient, as a pediatrician, we value our patients' independence, right? When they start having some independence in their ability to think for themselves, we value that for their healthcare. So say you're having some sensitive issues or something like that, we value their confidentiality and privacy. Even if they have a caregiver or a parent, we value that. And I even express that in the electronic health records that I help manage. Like, how do you actually operationalize that in the actual standard medical setting? So we have settings, and I've been leading the effort in developing the standards around it in the country. But in actual practice, right? So you want to assess, first of all, like the patient's independence in the way the patient's acting, because you can see when you're interacting with a child, this 13-year-old, like the other day, I saw a patient who's 11 years old, right? But her mind is like, man, it's just like 18, 21, very, very mature in the way she thinks about her wellness. Okay. That there you could intervene because she or he can make the choices for himself or herself, for themselves, right? There are also patients where they are very much connected into the container of their life. Caregiver, custodian, parent, aunt, grandmother, whatever. So in that case, if I see that, there's not much of that independence, then I include the container. And so if it's the grandma, or the aunt or whomever, just beginning to open the discussion, because then there's no agency. Like if they don't have an agency for the child, it's very, very hard, right? So yeah, so that's how I do it. And then I say it in a very simple question, a statement, just like what we did, like eating the colors of the rainbow. I would like ask them, okay, what are the colors of the rainbow? It's yellow, green, whatever. Okay, what would be the vegetables that are yellow? It's a banana. Okay, yeah, so that might be healthy for you when you eat it. Or and they get stuck in like blue, like what is the color of blue? I don't know. Is there a color? But usually say like blueberry. I don't like blueberry. Okay, well then it's blueberries. But yeah, so that's the thing. So I first look for a sign of agency or maturity in a patient, and if there isn't an agency, it's like more of the aptitude. When you see them, like you're interacting with them, you can kind of feel that. And then I include the container, which is, so it depends on the patient. It could be the caregiver, custodian, guardian, whatever.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Tanya, any more questions from you?
Just to wrap up, give us your 3 best health tips.
That's a good one.
All right. I love it. Okay. Well, let me think it through. 3 best health tips. Well, the first thing is I think that we should do everything to understand our motivations in whatever we do. Each person is growing, and I think we should be open to growth as a human being, right? When I say growth, like, what do you mean growth? Hey, professionally. So I'm not talking about professional growth. It's growth towards like knowing oneself, okay? Including our shadows. Each of us grew up, we have our own shadows. So how do you do that, right? So one is practicing generosity. So when one practices generosity, you begin to open up yourself, be generous, particularly to yourself, right? So generosity. So then you can open like, okay, well, I'm growing. And these are the things that are bubbling up, but also being generous to looking at the shadows so that then you can improve them. A lot of the stuff, sometimes our shadows, we don't want to pay attention to it because, number one, they're not pleasant. But as you have that generosity as an attitude, then you can begin to welcome them. It's like, okay, well, that one, all right. So how do I begin to deal with that? So I think, so that's number one. So figuring out like how to be a bit more generous to yourself, and hopefully that'll lead to others, being generous, being patient, and all that kind of stuff to others. The second one is, and this is my opportunity as well, given the type of job that I have, how do I grow and heal from the inside? So what does that mean? Like for me, it means like, okay, hey, I need to do like practices that are inside my body so that then from the inside I heal. So usually, for me, that'll be like meditation, being a bit more contemplative, it's not like you're
Cool.
yeah, just kind of looking at like, okay, how to develop those qualities, because we all have them, that's like a standard feature when we were born, right? We just forget about it as we grow old, because when we grow old, we become a bit tough, like we're putting a little, armor, yeah, and looking for that little tender, wonderful part within us. It takes a while to kind of learn those things, so that then you have that. So if you have that, and then the other one is just living a healthy lifestyle, I think, growing in terms of like the food that we eat, exercise, improving our relationships, improving spirituality. Yeah. So those are the 3 areas I'm thinking that might be. Those are aspirational for me. Okay. So I'm not saying that I'm there too. So
Perfect. Well, that brings us to the end of our first episode. This was amazing. Thank you, Dr. Yu, for volunteering to be the first interviewee today. Before we sign off, I would like to everyone give a wellness tip. So every episode at the end, we're going to give everyone is going to give one wellness tip.
Oh, I kind of stole that
I
and
love
already
that.
got his 3.
You
Oh,
so
did I get 3? Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Doctor,
Yeah.
you already gave his. Tanya, what would your wellness tip for the day be?
Ooh, I would say be kind to yourself. A lot of times we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and that causes a lot of stress in the body and the mind. And if we could just be a little kinder to ourselves, I think that would be really helpful.
You
Love it.
stole mine. You read
Oh
my
no, I'm sorry.
So I want to piggyback off of that. I am really big on encouraging everyone to give themselves grace. And so my tip for the week would be to do a deep dive and see where that is coming from, why you're extending so much grace to others and not as much to yourself. That is my tip for the week. So again, thank you, Dr. Yu, for sharing so much of your story. If you loved what you heard from this interview, remember you can read the full article in our magazine, which will be dropping soon. And then, of course, we pulled all of our best tips from this episode, from information from all of our providers. And anything else from you guys that you want to give that? Oh, Dr. Yee, please tell people where they can find you.
The best way to find me is just Google my name to Dr. Pele Yu, and maybe do integrative medicine, Dr. Pele Yu integrative medicine, and you'll find me in
Oh, he's
the
also in the
internet.
directory.
That's
The
right.
brand new wellness directory. Shameless plug we have going there.
Listen, I was going to actually ask you to introduce the directory now. So if you can go ahead and introduce the
Well,
directory.
perfect, because Dr. Yu was the first person to be put into the directory. So yeah, the Arkansas Wellness Network, one of our goals is to promote health, happiness, and hope in all shapes, colors, forms, whatever that may look like. And we want to promote wellness in all of the 8 dimensions of wellness. So whether it's spiritual, whether it is physical, nutritional, contributional, environmental, mental health, relationships, whatever the case may be, we want to make sure that in Arkansas, you know where your resources are and where your providers are. So we're creating the Arkansas Wellness Network, and we will verify. A lot of providers, unfortunately, call themselves providers, and they might not have had the proper training. They might be salesmen more than providers. And so we're actually going to do background checks. We're going to make sure that everyone who is in the provider directory is certified, is well trained, is an actual credible wellness provider. And we want to make sure that we cover all the areas of wellness. So that is what we're doing. And Dr. Yu is the very first person in the wellness directory, and that'll be coming out in January as well.
Perfect.
Man,
Perfect.
that's an honor.
Thank you. Thank you. So, again, thank you everyone for joining us today. Join us next week for another casual chit chat, coffee style type interview. We are extremely appreciative. Until then, stay well and remember our mission: real people, real wellness, real Arkansas.
I love it.
Love it.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
The Arkansas Wellness Network and the Wellness Connection are an initiative of reinventing ourselves, a 501c3 nonprofit promoting health, happiness, and hope.